Welcome to This Week in West Hempstead, sponsored this week by Creative Corner, your local home for all sorts of artistic exercises. Here are your hosts, David and Norm. Take it away, gents.
Thanks, Dan, and welcome, Norm. I'm really excited to be here today.
It's the beginning of spring.
Yeah, you know what? The grass is blooming, and the leaf blower people are all out. It's what could be better? So, let's just dive into the stories. Today we have a really interesting story about a local business called Sydney Sweets with the owner, Sydney Perry.
Yeah.
And you know what? Norm, why don't you give us some of the background?
Well, they're celebrities. They won $25,000 on a Food Network Spring Baking Championship, and she is super talented. It's a high-end bake shop. No one's known anything about it. I think they've been around 7 or 8 years. They don't do much retail sales, but they do sell high-end for occasions, special occasions.
Yeah, you know what? In all the years that I've lived in the area, I've never really seen anyone go into the store. So not only was I shocked that, they were doing this high-end stuff, but that the baker was going to be this incredible baker. I mean, it's really, quite incredible.
If you saw her stuff, you'd be blown away. My wife, Lainey, watched her on the network, and before she won the championship, they had several drills they had to run through. She prepared a ham. It was supposed to look like a ham, but be a cake. It was actually more ham than a ham. And she's got this incredible talent.
Yeah, let's get into the meat of that story. And, if we go to westhempsteadecho.com, you'll see on the homepage, we got the Sydney Sweet story front and center. And let's go dive in. And, we can take a look at the store. And there's a link there to the video on the Food Network. And there's also the story that appeared in Newsday. You can get to all of that through westhempsteadecho.com. It's a really great local story.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to meet her husband, who's a business manager. He says the store's only open Fridays and Saturdays, and he's considered going kosher, but it's basically very high-end.
No,
so he doesn't know if there's much of a market.
Yeah, going kosher, not kosher, okay, that's fine. But at the end of the day, do they want foot traffic? Are they interested in growing their business? They have an Instagram that has over 18,000 followers. What's in it for for them to make more money? Well,
they realize there's very low foot traffic in this town, and most of the retailers feel that as a problem. It's not the ideal location for them, but they do love the people of West Hempstead. They do like being here, and they have considered other locations.
And that's actually an interesting point, because a lot of the restaurants in town, they don't seem to last too long, and I think that foot traffic problem is a big piece of it.
Well, most people are out at work, so you don't have many people that are lounging around. The ones that have kids can't really get out that much, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah, and on top of all of that, you have established bakeries like Reisterers that have been here for almost a century, and they're known for their specialty cakes. So, a typical person in West Hempstead, if they have a wedding or a special occasion, they're more likely going to go to Reisterers than any other place. They're really not thinking of Sydney Sweets.
Well, Reisterers is more of a retail establishment, and Sydney's Sweets is all high-end. If you want a cupcake, you can get a $2 one at Reisterers. You can get a $4 one at Sydney's Sweets. The cakes are just killer design, gorgeous. And it's really a one-of-a-kind shop.
Fantastic. We look forward to possibly interviewing and meeting the owners of the establishment.
Actually, they're going to be coming here sometime in the next month or so. They're going to be demonstrating how to decorate a cake, and I'm looking forward to that. She's amazing to watch.
That's fantastic. In other news in West Hempstead, I got a problem, or I really have a beef. So I wanted to do a story on the sidewalk sweep, not sidewalk, sorry, that was the other story. I wanted to do a story on the street sweeping so that we can tell everyone when they can move the cars and when people are coming around. I go to the Town of Hempstead website. I try to do everything possible to get to those dates. Can't find it. All I get is a phone number. I call the phone number. After about 10 minutes, I finally get someone in the Department of Highway who then turns around and says, you know what? We're not doing any street sweeping this year. And I'm like, excuse me, you're not doing any street sweeping this year? How can you not do any street sweeping this year? And she's like, yeah, I didn't even know myself. She was surprised. She was surprised. I was surprised. This shouldn't have happened. We should know the dates, but apparently there are no dates. So guess what? You only get your street swept by request. So if you call and you let them know that your street has a problem, they'll come and they'll sweep it.
So
who's going to do that?
They didn't have any kind of answer on what happened to the money they budgeted for this, did they?
No, I really didn't get into it, but I think, for West Hempstead Echo, this is the type of story that we really want to dive into. We want to see what the budget was last year, what's happening this year, what's going forward. The town of Hempstead pays one of the highest tax rates in the country. To not have basic services seems like a real miss.
I haven't seen a street sweeper in at least a year, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to follow up on that story. Dan, what else is going on?
So, well, based on the town of Hempstead's mailings coming to everybody's house, including mine, everything is going on. I got 3 or 4 separate items here, they said. Good information. There's a job fair coming on the end of April. There's document shredding. There's property tax grievance. All this stuff is going on. But the question I have, and maybe you guys have an answer to this, is why am I getting so much stuff in the mail? Everybody on the planet has a phone. Why am I getting paper and throwing it right in the garbage?
Right. And who's paying for that? The money should be going towards street sweeping, not towards flyers. I mean, this is ridiculous. Literally, there's like dozens of these flyers being sent that people do not read. What's the purpose of it?
And considering how much gets recycled around here, I don't know how much is actually happening with this, except it's going back into the garbage.
I don't know. But on top of all of that, some of the issues I think are pretty interesting. There's the issue of single-family zoning and other things that people should be aware of. But by keep sending these mailers, it's just not getting anywhere.
That's a piece we ought to do a pro and con on in the future broadcasts. The issue of zoning and in general rental apartments in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a real hot item. It seems like the governor is pushing for this, and there's some real pushback, especially in suburban areas. So we'll see. Right now, her popularity is really not at a strong point. So it'll be interesting to see how far she's going to push this story.
Yeah, that's about it for this week, I think.
Yeah, I think that does it, Dan.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Join us again next week. And if you have any interest in sponsoring this show or others, reach us at sales@westhempsteadecho.com.